Well, hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Lopez Griggs. We want to welcome you today back to the feed. What an exciting time this has been. We're on, I believe, almost episode 29 or 30. It's been absolutely amazing. I kind of have lost count because, as you know, many of us have been working on putting a book together called Surviving Setup. It's been part of our Surviving Setup series that we've been doing. And just so grateful for Michael Hall, the producer of the feed. This is really his brainchild in connection with the Faces of Epilepsy, a community that was created as a safe space for epileptics to come share their stories and not feel alone in a journey that can be very, very isolating for so many reasons. As you know, there's over 50 million people worldwide that live with epilepsy, but yet there is still a huge stigma and shame that is attached to that. So a lot of people don't talk about it. 1 in 26 in our nation will be diagnosed with epilepsy. 1 in 10 will have a seizure some point in their lifetime, but yet not be diagnosed with epilepsy. It's something that gets so little funding, comparable to Alzheimer's and dementia. You've heard us talk about it on the show. It's actually a societal burden when you think about it, that Alzheimer's and different diseases like dementia get $4 billion in research a year, yet people with epilepsy get just over $200 million in funding yearly, but yet the community is still very, very large. So we've put this show together and we're interviewing some very, very amazing guests. You've seen some of the guests we've had on this last week, but today I have the pleasure of bringing someone on that is really a story of resilience, really a story of just how to not have your identity so caught up in the stigma of having seizures, but yet not letting that part of your life like own you. And so I'm just so excited because he's doing so many great things with advocacy and retreats. And this man has had brain surgery literally to put an end to his seizures. And I just feel like this conversation today is going to be one that you can see yourself in. So make sure that you grab your mocha or your tea or your hot beverage to join us today as I have this amazing conversation with Michael Craig, all the way from Huntington Beach. So excited to have you on, sir.
Thank you very much.
This is the day of the dog. This is the day of the dog. It appears that you have a birthday of a special friend in your life today, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Talia, my dog.
Yes, who is that?
She is my epilepsy dog, and it's her 3rd birthday.
Oh my gosh. Can we see her just for the audience?
Of course.
Look at that. Hello. And what's her name?
Talia.
Oh my goodness. How did she get her name, Michael?
Great story, but it was my ex-girlfriend. Not that I'm over her.
Aw, I love it.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. So does that mean when you meet other women, they're like, how did your dog get your name? Oh.
Yeah. And then my dad says it's his ex-girlfriend.
Oh my gosh, that's great. How does that land with the ladies?
Not too well.
Gosh, we are just getting right into it today. I'm sure my producer, Michael Hall, is like in the background going, well, Lisa, you opened that can of worms. Yeah, I knew he would be thinking that. Well, you know what? It is such a pleasure to have you on today. We've been trying to have you on for a while. And I actually was kind of introduced to you through social media. You've been doing some amazing things in social media. I've been seeing some of your content just in a lot of the epilepsy awareness groups and different things like that. I've been seeing your posts and just the fact that you really are so passionate about epilepsy, your journey, and how it hasn't limited you. And I saw you and I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to interview you so bad. And here we are. So, I know that epilepsy doesn't define you. I know that you don't really find your identity in that, but yet it's been such a big part of your journey, especially with having brain surgery. For our audience today, can you just kind of talk about like where did epilepsy, like when were you diagnosed and how did this whole journey start for you?
Oh, good question. So it began through the umbilical cord at birth, and I was misdiagnosed for night terrors at a very young age. My parents were concerned that I was kicking and screaming and all during the night. And the doctor had said that I would eventually outgrow them. So it began at birth, and I knew that I was just not normal at that point. So it's been a long time.
Okay. And so when you were originally diagnosed, you said you were misdiagnosed though?
Yes, I was misdiagnosed, multiple times, but that's the first occurrence of misdiagnosed. And then the second was I was misdiagnosed for schizophrenia about 6 to 7 years ago. And I was given some really harsh drugs to tame the seizures.
Yeah, there's sometimes a correlation. My son, they had not diagnosed him with schizophrenia, but they had diagnosed him with bipolar, and they wanted to put him on medications. And by that point, he was only 16, but he was just like, Mom, I just don't want to be on any more medications. He was on so many medications, and that was kind of our day-to-day life of just kind of dealing with epilepsy. What was your day-to-day life like with regard to having epilepsy for so long and all the misdiagnoses? I mean, how did that make you feel when you knew this is not who I am? Because obviously that played a huge part in your identity.
There's a lot of different things that I was feeling. First would be I was very, very, very frustrated and angry. And I had a lot of shame, a lot of guilt. And it was definitely, I knew it was not my internal being of who I was.
Yeah. What do you think that was that made you know that's not who I am? Is it something intrinsic within you that, was it like a calling, a feeling? What was it? Was it something outside of yourself?
That's a very, very good question. I didn't think about that, but thinking about it now, I think it was God saying, this is not who you are. And I had signs of going back and forth, like, I'm a very loving person and that kind of thing. But there was also signs of just complete devil coming out. Like I was just very angry and, I was hitting my head against the walls at a very young age. So I had a very hairline trigger on my anger.
Yeah. So the triggers were, do you think that was playing a part into the misdiagnosis as well?
For sure. And I didn't help myself because when I went to 6 years ago, when I was misdiagnosed for schizophrenia, the psychiatrist said, do you hear voices? And I said, well, don't we all? And I couldn't walk that back. So I didn't help myself there.
Okay. So if I hear voices in my mind, does that mean I'm schizophrenic? Oh my goodness gracious. I can't even tell you the amount of voices that I hear on a daily basis. It's kind of a joke, running around here. Oh, you don't like my personality? Okay. Well, I have 10 other ones that you can choose from. So, we kind of like to try to lighten the mood a little bit, Michael, just around such a serious subject. What would you like for people to understand about kind of like even maybe if they were misdiagnosed? Because I feel like this could be a really big whole long conversation. Only because we've read that, the statistics, we're familiar with the statistics, we've studied it here on the show, that even, we just did a show on Monday about it, that even with suicide rates, suicide rates are higher in epileptics, 3 times higher with people that have epilepsy. And they're
Wow.
also misdiagnosed, meaning not diagnosed with depression, but yet depression is something that is it's a byproduct, and it's another side effect of epilepsy. And so a lot of people have depression that have epilepsy or have seizures, have been diagnosed with epilepsy, but yet they're misdiagnosed, meaning that they're not even diagnosed as having depression. Do you think like there's a correlation there where even people are not even being just misdiagnosed, but maybe even not diagnosed at all?
1000%. I had experienced, I attempted suicide at least 3 times during my life. And for the people who are misdiagnosed or they just don't know what their problem is, firstly, you're meant to be here. Your story is very, very strong. Go get help, just be very, very diligent about that. And then when you get relief or find out your diagnosis, then, make sure that you do all the things that the doctor tells you or whatever it is for your situation.
Did that play a part in you making the decision to have brain surgery?
So I decided to have brain surgery because my life, so the answer is yes. My life was just increasingly getting worse and worse and worse, to the point where I had to sleep like 16 hours a day. And the alternative was just risk brain surgery. And then lo and behold, I'm seizure free.
How long has that been? That's amazing.
Oh God. August 12th, 2025 was my surgery date. And so I'm just under 8 months.
So you just had brain surgery 8 months ago, but yet it has been completely life-changing for you.
Without a doubt, 1000% life-changing. I sleep better now. I have dreams. My attitude has changed, and I've found God, because there were just so many different signs that I was just meant to be here.
Yeah. What does that look like? I want you to tell the audience what that looks like when you say, I found God, because, when you first came on and you started talking about, well, I don't know if it's something like, I'm asking you if it's something inside of you or something outside of you that caused you to know that you were still here. Obviously, you had 3 failed attempts at suicide. Thank God, okay, for that. Yeah. Because obviously you've made it to the other side of that. And now you're a huge advocate, and you're here to tell people that they need to be here. Their identity is obviously not in their epilepsy. Right. So talk to the audience about how your faith played a part in that and what you mean by I found God.
Okay, so I'm going to start with how I found God. And firstly, my 3rd failed attempt at suicide, I drove into a church and I parked during the night, and I had popped a bunch of pills. And so God spoke to me at that time, and he said, it's not your time, not your time.
Praise God.
And that was a very emotional moment for me. And then the second time I found God or saw God was during the surgery. There was a light that I didn't know what it was. I assumed it maybe was the lights in the surgery room, but it just felt the hue was a little different than the surgery lights, And so that was my second. And then just every day I'm searching for God, and I listen to, I meditate, I pray, and every morning I do that to set the trajectory of my day. And So my search and my journey is not ended, and it's
Mhm.
I truly 1000% believe that he's real.
Yeah, definitely. What were you thinking about when you went into the surgery? Did you already have that relationship with God? Because that's like a really big deal. I've heard a lot of stories from men, well, not a lot, but several, that they were on the verge of suicide and they would try to take their life, in some way, sort of like your story. And God intervened. The Holy Spirit literally intervened and was like, it's not your time. Very similar to what you're saying, and put a
So
stop to that, you know?
prior to surgery, I had been very angry with God and telling other people that, well, what's up with Jesus, all the different looks that he has? Can he be real? He's not real. Um,
Mm,
and so, yeah, I was a little bit, well, I was definitely negative toward God.
mm,
So, and that really played a part in my acceptance of him,
mhm,
because it showed the converse of like, wow, I'm totally against God prior to the surgery, and now I'm totally
mhm,
for him.
mhm.
And it's quite powerful to allow him to lead our life, and I believe in him 100%.
Amen. I love that you said that. It's to let him lead our life
Yeah.
is such a big deal. It's everyone is literally just one conversation away with God from just saying, God, I don't want to do it my way anymore. I want to do it your way. And it sounds like that's the place that you brought yourself to. It sounds like you made this decision to say, you know what? I just don't want to do it Michael's way anymore. I want to do it your way, God. How did you get the anger out of the way?
Oh, it was quite a process. Uh, it was I gradually got the anger out of the way, and I literally stripped it out of my being every morning. And
Mm-hmm.
I constantly have to remind myself that
Mm-hmm.
it's God's way, not my way, and
Yep.
what will be will be. And
Mm-hmm.
us as human beings like to control things, and it's just, it's not
Nah.
real. Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, is that the truth.
Yeah.
And we're fooling ourselves if we say we don't want to control everything around us, because
Well,
we do want
I
to control
found that it takes daily reminder that we are not in control of things.
everything.
Right.
Right? Boy, is that the truth. Michael, I know you know a little bit about my story, losing my son to SUDEP. And that's kind of what got, me on the other side of this journey with becoming a part of the epilepsy community, because I'm not an epileptic, but I'm just was a caregiver of one, and just kind of dealt with it. But I think that's interesting that you said that about the control piece, because I never really saw myself as controlling until I had to surrender to God to the degree where I lost my son, because then I realized, wow, I'm not the one in control and I cannot bring my son back. This is something that I cannot control. I can't, there's nothing I can do to fix this.
Well,
And
let me say something
yeah.
about not being an epileptic and being a parent.
Hmm.
Being a parent is very hard. It's actually probably harder than being an epileptic.
Hmm.
Um, well, because you don't have your hands on the steering wheel. When you have your hands on the steering wheel, you have a sense of control.
Hmm. Yeah. And then you get to a point where you're like, my hands are not on the steering wheel, because my child is now, well, my son, Michael, it's interesting. My son, I always would tell him, oh gosh, Judah, you're like born 3,000 years old and stuck in a child's body, and I don't know what to do with you. I know I'm the best mom for you. I know that I'm the best mom for you. But I couldn't control him. It was almost like he just knew he wasn't going to be here that long. It was weird. It was like he experienced so much from such a young age. And so that whole piece of control that you just said, it takes faith to let go, and to let God. And what a
I had that.
beautiful
I had that feeling
transition
too.
you've made, doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it was. So I had the feeling that I wasn't gonna live a long time, and it was quite strong in my soul. So I did a lot of risky business, a lot of stuff that I just wasn't really aimed to for the sake of trying to get a cash flow and other things that I needed to keep my life alive.
Yeah. Did living in Huntington Beach, did that play a big part of it? Like, your spatial, like where you were bringing, I guess, your own energy to,
Yeah, I've lived here now 15 years. That's long enough, but I'm actually from the Bay Area, Lafayette.
Okay.
And let's just say that as an outsider to Orange County, California, this area is very shallow and materialistic, and all the stigmas around, all just everything. It's financial situation. So
it's very performance oriented.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very, very performance oriented. So I want to go back to the surgery for a minute. So when you went in for your surgery, obviously you had already got rid of all your anger and the processes of, dealing with all of that. It sounds like you were doing a lot of work on yourself. I think that's kind of what gravitated me to you. Like when I first saw, I was like, this is a man who is doing the work. This is a man that really not only wants to make a difference in the lives of others, but recognizes that until I do the work on myself, I can't really help other people. I think I saw that in you like right away, that you were really wanting to shift some things in your life. With regard to the surgery, when you went in there, were you fearful when you went in for that surgery?
Not at all.
So you had total faith going into it.
Total faith, and to the point where the Dr. Chang from UCSF had called and said, hey, are you willing to do an awake surgery for 7.5 hours? And I did not hesitate. And I said, yes, of course.
How did you get hooked up with him?
So I went to UCLA, and then they referred me to UC San Francisco because they couldn't handle my case.
What made you go to UCLA?
My mom had called relentlessly to UCLA because the reason why she learned was I had a seizure while driving her during the holiday.
Okay.
And I had a seizure. Yeah, I had a seizure while driving, and she had said, pull over in the fast lane. And thank God I didn't get into an accident. And so that's how she learned. And then right after that, she relentlessly called and called and called. So thank you, Mom.
And then got you the advocacy that you needed.
Yes. And even between UCLA to UCSF, I had just thought, man, maybe I'm just meant to live with epilepsy and seizures. So I had a doubt whether they would find it, because my case was very rare, because this tumor was so deep in my brain that they had a hard time locating the location for the seizures that's triggering the seizure.
So the tumor that you had was actually triggering the seizure. So once they went in, they removed the tumor, correct?
Yes, correct.
When did you realize that you were seizure free?
So right out of the hospital, I had definitely wondered. And then probably about 30 to 45 days after during the recovery phase, and I didn't have a seizure, I was sleeping well. And I just realized, man, these aren't going to come back. So I
Praise
was
God.
definitely, I'm definitely like a changed person now. My personality, everything is just 1,000% different. And
Hmm.
so that's what I'm very grateful.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So now you're really like advocating for Dr. Chang and the work that he's doing. Is he willing to do these surgeries and on lots of other people, or because you had a tumor, yours is different than everybody else?
So I don't, so yes, he's willing to do these for everybody, but
Mhm.
I did the math and I just said, well, I am one in, I don't know, 1,000 or whatever
Yeah,
in his
right.
lifetime of surgery. So,
Hmm.
uh, but yeah, I imagine he is willing to do that. And so we came to be, well, friends,
Okay.
so-called friends,
Through the process.
uh,
Yeah.
through the process. Yeah. And so he had said initially, I thought it was the size of a grain of rice, and
Mm,
it turned out to
small.
be the size of a plum. Yeah,
Wow.
behind my left eye. And so there was extreme amount of pressure behind my left eye. Like I was complaining every day.
Really?
It's pushing out like headaches and all kinds of stuff. And
Wow.
so, yeah. And so anyway, uh, he had said, hey, I was surprised when you agreed for the awake surgery so quick. Like most
Well,
people just don't even think about it.
well, okay. Okay. I'm this. If I was around, this is what I would have said to Dr. Chang. I would have said, Dr. Chang, I would have said, you don't know Michael Craig very well. I said, he's already tried to take the fast track 3 times. What does he have to lose? And now he's got this faith in this big God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, really, what did you have to lose? Right, Michael? I mean, honestly, were you kind of thinking that? Like, how did
I
you answer this question? Like,
uh so my logic was I've already been to hell and back,
right?
and and I'm running on borrowed time right now. So I was very anxious to have the surgery no matter what it was.
Yeah. And so, and for the audience that's listening in, because we're creating quite a following here now, Michael. The reason why I'm making light of this, and trying to be humorous around this is because if you're living with epilepsy, and I've read so many stories now that we're Michael putting the book together, Surviving SUDEP, What Your Neurologist Won't Tell You. These 26 stories. I just bawl my eyes out constantly because the subjects are so heavy, but yet epileptics, like, I couldn't find a better community for God to connect me with than with those that have epilepsy and those that are the caretakers of epileptics, because they are true warriors. I mean, true warriors. Like,
Well said.
you guys are the ones that are literally, I wish I had like picking up the sword like Braveheart and just running in, just charging like, we got this. We're going to do this. You guys are some of the most resilient community and people that I have ever met in my entire life. And that's why I was like, his identity is not in this. And I saw it right away. I mean, as soon as I saw you in the groups, I was like, oh my gosh, this gentleman really gets it. Like, he knows he has nothing to lose. He's going forward. He's championing a cause. And this just does not shape your life at all. And I don't think, even if you, and correct me if I'm wrong, I guess my next question is, if you wouldn't have had the surgery, would you still be advocating the way you are? You know what I'm saying? Would you still be who you are? Or do you feel like the surgery was a really big part of your current existence?
So the answer to the question is no. No, no, no. I definitely give a lot of credit to epilepsy. I give credit to the surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and I found purpose in my life. I know exactly what I want to do,
Yep.
and the rest is behind me. It's just, and I'm only 48 now, so I've got this is my half life.
Yes. Yes. So the next half of your life will be the best, most fulfilling part of your life. So what inspired you to do the retreats? Because I know you're doing retreats as well. Is that with
Yeah.
Dr. Chang? Is it something separate? How does that play a part into to your life now?
So, uh, I haven't really asked Dr. Chang, but
Mm-hmm.
UC San Francisco's social media has asked me to be a spokesperson on their social media.
Mm-hmm.
So that is to be presented on coming up soon, like on a Monday. So in a
Okay.
couple of weeks, probably. And then the home that I acquired in Joshua Tree or Yucca Valley is the city,
Right. Mm-hmm.
had been a rental for a rehab. And God said, just kick them out. And it's time for you to just do what you want to do. And so uh, it's a very beautiful home. And long story short, I had remodeled the house during my
Mm-hmm.
seizures, and it was very painful, but I just knew that it was something that God wanted me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's Joshua Tree is the place for epileptics, the silence, the stars,
Mm.
Integratron, the sound bowls. So there's
Yes.
just so much that is near and dear to my heart, and supporting epileptics there.
Yeah, I've done all of that and been to the sound bowls there. It's very, very amazing. Yeah. What's it called? The Integron,
In,
right?
Integratron.
Yeah, Integriton. It's very, very amazing.
Yeah.
And I have a girlfriend that actually has a retreat center out there. And this is it sounds like a real labor of love for you to do these retreats. Have you had one yet, or you're just getting ready to start doing them?
So the answer is no. I haven't had one yet, but I'll have one soon,
Hmm.
and they'll happen like every month.
Okay.
And the curriculum is Integratron, Joshua Tree National Park, Pioneer Town, and then also community, all those different things that epileptics and other people thrive, that
Hmm.
they're not alone. It's just
Yeah.
something
So,
really
what
cool.
kind of people are you looking for to connect with that would really benefit from being at those retreats? If they're listening today, or they know someone, a friend, or a sibling, a family member, what kind of people can come to those retreats, and can they get in touch with you somewhere?
Yeah. So, firstly, epileptics is probably my primary
Mhm.
goal, and then also family and friends. So it's something that the friends are the support. My family is my support system, and I know that. So I have a house that is very conducive to epileptics. The lights, the stars, the whole environment there. And what we would do is we would visit Integratron, which is the Sound Bowls, Joshua Tree National Park, and Pioneer Town. And then our daily events would be community, uh, you're not alone, just all these really, really positive things. And the clientele or patients would walk away with hope, is what I'm trying to give away, is hope.
That's
And
so awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
really so beautiful.
yeah, I'm really excited for the first one. I know it's going to be a shit show probably, but um, yeah, it's work in progress.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I feel your heart, to want to do this for the community, and just it's so awesome. Uh, I feel your heart. I was saying, Michael, just your desire to really see this go forward for the community, and it's just so beautiful. What a labor of love that is. What made you decide to do that? Like, I mean, I know you were like, well, God said kick this one out and but like, what was it that made you just all of a sudden be like, I'm gonna turn this place into a retreat?
Wow, that's a really good question. So there was a very few things that kind of led me to this journey of hosting retreats. And the first one was I had the property, and the second was my experiences remodeling the property where I was having seizures in between just made an impact on why my story would be there. And then the
Yeah.
third one was, it's a beautiful property. It's got a pool, got a hot tub, all these things that are just amazing for that area. And it's just very peaceful.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I love it out there. I've been to all those places that you mentioned, and it is truly a place of healing. And wow, what an incredible thing that you're going to be doing out there. So, how do people get in touch with you if they want to get and be a part of that? Do you have a list going somewhere? I know
So
you know.
I have a website that is my personal website. It's www.michaelcraig.co, michaelcraig.co. And yeah, so there's links in there. There's donation in there. Yeah, so that's how you get a hold of me, is www.michaelcraig.co.
Okay. And are you willing to open that up for other nonprofit organizations as well? Like if they want to host retreats there,
Sure.
like say Faces of Epilepsy wanted to do something there, for women or men, as Michael was talking about, Michael Hall was talking about. Are you open to allowing other organizations to come in as well?
Yes. So I spend about every month or so. And so, yes, other nonprofits can definitely use it.
Because you do so much in the social media space, has anybody actually reached out to you yet and just said, besides me, obviously, because I wanted to interview you so bad, has anybody else reached out to you? Oh, he keeps losing.
3, 2, 1.
I was just saying that I love that location out there that you pick because it is just so healing. And if you were open to having other organizations come out like Faces of Epilepsy, or there's other nonprofits that want to rent the space to host retreats, are you open to having them connect with you?
Most definitely, yes. I'm hoping that there's a bunch of different organizations, nonprofits that will inquire about hosting a retreat there.
Yeah, that's awesome. The place sounds beautiful. I mean, you mentioned it has a pool and the stars and all the things that we're going to be doing when we come out there. So I cannot wait. I hope we're able to do something. I could definitely see us do something for the families of those that have lost loved ones to SUDEP.
Mhm.
I could definitely see those moms and fathers gathering at a space for grief advocacy. I think that would be absolutely amazing. The other question was, what made you decide to do this? Like, I was like, did you just all of a sudden just come up with this idea one day? Like, I just want to do this,
Well, there was a few things signs that I needed to do this. And first was I had the property, or I have the property.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just the convenient thing to do. And the second was I was experiencing a bunch of seizures like every 3 hours during the remodeling process. Yeah, it's crazy. And so, and then the third one was it's vacant.
Yeah.
It's God's way of just saying, now's the time, do it now. It'll work out.
Yeah. So Michael, okay. So Michael Hall, our producer, okay, was just talking about how you kind of look like this like action hero. Okay. I sort of noticed that anybody that follows Michael Craig, okay, on Facebook, if you go to his Facebook, you will see that this man literally lives in the gym. Okay. So Michael Hall, our producer, is not far off. You're very inspiring. What kept you going on your hardest days? What kept you going?
Well, firstly, my hardest days were very low. I didn't have the ability to think about what it was, and it's very hindsight. So, but my ability to keep going was firstly God. Secondly, I live in the gym because that's my way of processing things in life, and I go every day. And so, and then I also believe in my prayer and meditation routine every morning.
Yeah. So being in the gym every day, do you encourage other epileptics to do that as well?
Well, if they don't, I would.
Yeah.
It,
Right.
it doesn't matter what it is in a gym or anywhere, but I believe that you just have to get outside and do exercise and feel the sunlight. Like we go to the beach 3 days a week, and it just resets your soul, resets your perspective.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that you pick Huntington Beach, even though it is a bit pretentious. I'm familiar with the area of OC. Do you think that, I mean, it's interesting that you pick that place, but then you also pick this very earthy, grounded place like, Joshua Tree, which is
Right.
so earthy, it's so grounding there. Do you think that where we live, as epileptics plays a part into like, I don't know. I guess it has to do with our way of being in the daily, grind, I guess,
Yeah.
so to speak.
So
Life is fast now, and it can be very discouraging.
that I often speak of that situation where Joshua Tree is an environment of solace,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just so far opposite from Orange County.
Totally.
And then now I like Orange County because it's not Joshua Tree. So yeah, so that's the basics of my scenario there.
Yeah, it is definitely two different spectrums, same stick, different spectrums, with regard to the influence of the beach and the ocean and, all of that kind of good stuff. So, Michael Hall, I want to bring him into this conversation because one of the mandates that I sort of believe that even I'm on right now is this quest to bring myself around really God-fearing men that want to make a difference in the men in our nation, in the USA specifically right now. And I know that earlier we were talking about suicide rates, suicide with men, the suicide rates with epilepsy. It can sometimes be a very heavy subject, but I feel like it's so needed in this hour right now. Michael Hall, in talking with even Pastor David Hill, who you're going to be doing an interview with very soon, maybe even this weekend, that is also a big thing that he kind of champions, is what Michael Craig is championing, which is this kind of combating that. I would love for you gentlemen to have a conversation around that, because I just feel like it's something that definitely needs to be talked about. There needs to be conversation about it so that people know that they're not alone, especially the men, because the men in epilepsy, they have a lot more even injuries than women do too, because of the nature of what they do. Like Michael Craig was mentioning, he's doing all this work at this house, but yet he's having 3 seizures or seizures, every 3 hours, while he's trying to get this house prepared so that it can be a blessing to so many epileptics and their families. And I just think God's going to really use that place. So, Mike, I know that you probably have some questions for Michael Craig.
Yeah, well, absolutely. One, you said mandate. I would love to go on a mandate with Michael Craig. It sounds like an amazing time. I think that would be lovely.
Sorry. I didn't mean it like that, but how cute is that? You're such a comedian. I love it.
But I wanted to thank you for taking the time to come here, and a couple of things. One, I wanted to point out and highlight your bravery, because it takes bravery to share a journey as difficult as yours has been. So thank you, man. A lot of people may get through it, but they don't want to admit it. You know what I mean? They want to really put it in the rear view mirror and not bring it up again. And it takes somebody really strong, willing to go back in there and pull from that pain and experience to help others. So thank you for doing that. And then in addition to that, absolutely. You mentioned that you attempted suicide more than once. Did you? I believe you said 3 times.
Correct.
Um, Now, for those that don't know, suicide, that I pulled this up here, but the suicide epidemic for men over 30 in America is the highest of any group. And then men over 35, it gets higher. And then, as you can see here, men age 35 to 64 in the United States have historically had the highest suicide rate among all male age groups. And then, while the rate for men was 29.2 per 100,000, and men age 25 to 44 is 29.8 per 100,000. So I believe this is right in the age range that you were in. Is that correct? Did I lose you on sound there? Oh. So, Michael, I believe you said that you had attempted suicide 3 times in your life. And as you know, there's an epidemic of men over 35, and it's 4 times higher than the rate of females. And the older you get, the higher that rate goes. I was going to ask you, so why the second and third time? That's something that I'm very interested in. And I would like to know, when it happened the first time, and clearly it was a failed attempt because you're still here.
Right.
Did you feel like you had gotten the therapy or the work done that you had needed to not deal with it again? Or was it one of those, that it failed, but life goes on, so I'm jumping back on the treadmill, but I never fixed those problems internally? Can you share a little bit about what you feel didn't work the first and second time?
So the first time I was in my early 20s, and the same thing, I had pop pills, went on vacation, kind of what it was. And the second and third time, I was in my 40s, so a lot of time had passed. And I was just feeling like, why would I be here if I'm just there's no benefit to that in the world and all that stuff. And so I think the emotions, I was just so overwhelmed with not sleeping for like 12 days because the seizures just basically interrupted my REM sleep. And I was just really, really exhausted.
And lack of sleep definitely can put so much stress on you. And then it is literally my number one seizure trigger. So I think that is something that all epileptics and folks who suffer from seizures should keep in mind, is that when you're feeling very mentally heavy burdened and emotionally heavy burden, are you resting? And I was going to ask you another thing in dealing with epileptics. Have you found, like, to me, what I've found is that we overlook the basics so much. And the problem is it's not sensational. It's not no cure, potentially. It's simply drink your water, get your sleep, get your steps in, make sure you're eating a protein and vegetable rich diet versus processed foods, carbs, and sugars, and just start there. Start doing those basic things. And I think you'll find that whatever medicine you're on, whatever program you and your doctor may be working on, whatever you're doing, it's helping you. It's giving you as much benefit, getting you as ready as possible to play the game of fighting the seizures and working with the epilepsy. So would you be willing to share with us a little bit about your experience going to the gym every day and kind of trying, focusing in and living that healthy lifestyle?
Yeah. So firstly, I'm like they attack me in the middle of the night when I'm falling dead asleep. So, and then the second thing is I prioritize in my day meditation, diet, and exercise. I mean, prior to all the other things, I got to do that in the very beginning of my day or in the middle of my day, and I make it a daily priority. And it just seems to just really set my day in a good manner. But the exercise portion is crucial to my day in that it feels good. It's just a dopamine rush.
Mm-hmm.
That means you've been doing it for a while, because people out of shape do not feel that way when they go to the gym. Not initially, we don't.
Yeah, not initially, but over many years or months, whatever, you'll find joy in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just wanted to thank you. I know you have a wonderful space. I look forward to trying to attend sometime. So if nothing else, I'd like to come out
Fantastic.
and cover it for the feed. We can, just show
Yeah.
folks what you're working
Sure.
with out there.
Yeah,
Oh, that would
you're
be so
definitely going to
awesome.
be invited.
Yeah, that would
Absolutely.
be awesome.
And that's about all I had. I just want men to know out there that there are people like you.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing I wanted to touch on for epileptic men out there. I personally know a few of them. I work with them. They're very good friends and great men, but
Mm-hmm.
you're a successful man. You have a
Mhm.
successful career. You have consistency, that kind of thing. And I wanted to ask you if you'd be willing to just share a little bit about, your daily life and how you found success and managing epilepsy with a career, and consistency and that. 'Cause there are so many men with epilepsy who would kill to be where you're at. So, can you hear us? You cannot hear us, can you?
I don't think Michael can hear us.
So, my career is in mortgage, and I'm very grateful for that because I control my time and I don't really need a lot of that time to work. It's all forward facing and the commissions are big. But yeah, I'm very successful, and it's to be designed basically. And it was the only career that I imagined that I could have because I was sleeping like 16 hours a day. So, I'd get up for a meeting, a phone call, and then I go right back to bed.
Wow.
And was it working? How did you start to manage it more effectively where you could get more done and increase the amount of goals you accomplished in a day?
So firstly, I had to hire a processor and a partner loan officer. That greatly saved my time. So I concentrate fully on the forward-facing lead generation side. And yeah, I bring in a lot of business, and so
it's good.
It is what it is.
Congratulations. I love that.
Yeah,
I love
good.
that.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Hey, let me
Thank
borrow
you.
like $50 till payday. What do you say, Michael? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Sure.
Aw.
How do I get it to you?
Aw.
Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, buy me a coffee. You can subscribe to
Aw.
our channel, become a monthly subscriber, whatever you want. We got you. Anyway, however you want to give us money, we're going to make it easy. Kidding. But
Awesome.
I'll head out. I just wanted to say thank you
I'll
so
do that
much.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. We're kidding. I just wanted to say thank you so much. And I wanted to let other men out there that there are men like you that
Yeah.
are a great example. Just because you have seizures and just because sometimes you're in the darkest of dark places does not mean it's over for you. Does not mean you are done.
Yeah.
For those men out there, feel free to reach out to me. And, I believe that if I could help one, I've done my job.
Absolutely. Thank you. You've already helped me today, and I'm sure you have helped way more than one.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure there is a large number of folks
Yeah.
that you're helping just by living your life every day.
Yeah.
Your life is your testimony, right? And you show us if we do not give up and we stay, we stay in some sort of grounding of faith, that we're going to be all right. So thank you for that. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. And thank you guys.
Yeah, I want to thank you too, Michael. And I just want to, because we're getting ready to wrap this show up, and we definitely want to have you back because you have so much value to contribute to the Faces of Epilepsy, the F.E.E.D, and the those that that are having epileptic seizures. I'm trying to change my narrative on the way that I say epileptics, because it's those that have epilepsy or have seizures. But
Right.
now so many people, you're giving them so many hope that they can be seizure free, too, and that there's other ways to still live their life and do things. You were still having a great career and still being successful even before the surgery, and God
Yes.
obviously has a big purpose for you here on this earth. And we're so grateful that you joined us today. For those that are struggling today, is there any last words that you would want to say to them? If they are struggling today and it's just one of those dark
Yeah.
days, as you mentioned, or it's just one of those hard days, what would you want to say to them today?
Well, firstly, you are loved and you have a purpose, and just wait for tomorrow. Things change every day. So that's basically what I would tell them.
So awesome. Well, there you have it, everybody. You just heard from the gentleman himself, Michael Craig. Just, oh my gosh, what a resilient, courageous, brave man you are, making such a difference in the world. Big hugs to you right here from sunny California. We love you, everybody. That's it from all of us at the Feed. Have a great day. Bye.